friends, welcome to Code Crush Coding. In this video we will going to start the practical implementation of CSS, how we can have the code of CSS in our HTML programming. So first thing, you need to know the editor in which we are going to perform all the CSS coding. So I am going to use the Sublime Text Editor. You can download the Sublime Text Editor from the internet. You just need to go on Chrome, and here you can directly say Sublime Text Editor download, and you can download the Sublime Text from here and then you can install it. Currently I have installed the Sublime Text Editor, so I do have this editor in my machine. So first thing you need to know of this editor is, when you install this you will get the UI in this format. So first thing you need to create a file. So let's create a file here, new file, and let's save this file. So you need to provide the location where you want to save the file. I will save this. I need to provide first, you can provide any name, first demo.html. so I will save this file here. So this is my HTML file, and let's create another file which will be our CSS file. We will save this file here only, and which will be my CSS. This is the name of file and it will have the extension CSS. So currently we have the HTML file as well as CSS file. So what we want to cover in this video, we will have, so first thing we need to understand the syntax for CSS. So this is the syntax for CSS, where we have the selectors. Selectors are basically the tags which point to the HTML element you want to style. And here you have the declaration, like you can provide the properties here. Currently in this syntax we do have color, which is the property, and value for this property is blue. Another one property is font size, and which have the value 12 pixel. So here we need to have the selector and declarations. So the declaration block contains one or more declarations separated by semicolon. So each declaration includes a CSS property, name and a value separated by a colon. As you can see, if there are multiple declarations, you can separate them by the colon. So multiple CSS declarations are separated with semicolons, and surrounded blocks are surrounded by a curly braces. So this is the syntax of CSS. So how we add this CSS to our HTML file? So there are three ways of inserting a style sheet to our HTML. The three types are external CSS, internal CSS, and inline CSS. So what is external CSS? So each HTML page must include a reference to the external style sheet file inside the link element inside the head section. So when you have the different CSS file, you can make the reference of that CSS file to HTML file inside the link element. An external style sheet must be saved with a .css extension. As we have now declare one file here, which is our CSS file, mycss.css, and the external .css file should not contain any HTML tags. So CSS file does not contain any HTML tags. So let's first cover the external CSS. So in our editor, let's first write the HTML code. So you can directly provide your tag HTML. So this editor will by default give you the template of your HTML file, and inside the body section we will have one heading h1, and in this heading we will write first CSS code, and here in paragraph we will say welcome to CSS learning. So I do have these two tags in our HTML file now, h1 and p. Now if I try to run this first demo.html file, so see we are getting here heading first CSS code and as well as the a paragraph here, welcome to CSS learning. Now what we will do here, we will have the properties of CSS in my css.css file. So what is the syntax of CSS? First you need to provide the selector. So let's first provide the selector h1, and h1 you need to provide the declarations. Let's first provide the value of color. So let's say color is light blue, and if you want to have another property and value, then it should be separated by the semicolon. And let's provide the another value here, background color. So background color will be black. Now I have declared these two properties here for h1 tag. I will save this, and if I run my first demo.html again, so there is no difference, right? We are getting first CSS code and welcome to CSS learning. We are not able to get the properties of CSS which we have defined in the CSS file. So to reflect these properties, what you need to do, inside the HTML file you need to make use of the link tag here, link, and in .css. As both these files are located in the same location, we just need to provide the file name. If it is on different location, you need to provide the entire path. So my css.css, if I try to save this and run now, refresh the browser, see I'm able to get the color here, light blue, and as well as the background here. And let's have another property for paragraph. So let's provide color orange. Okay, let's provide only one property here, and if you try to refresh the browser now, see we are getting here orange color for this paragraph. See, welcome to CSS learning, first CSS code, and the background color, because background color is only applied to h1 selector, not to paragraph selector. So that was the use of this external CSS. Let me increase here, external CSS. Now what we will learn about the internal CSS. So what is an internal CSS? So an internal style sheet may be used if one single HTML page has a unique style. So the internal style is defined inside the style element inside the head section. So when you don't want a separate CSS file, because this CSS file can be used by multiple HTML pages, we just need to provide the link here. Internal CSS, inside the style tag we can provide the properties. Now let me remove this link to the external CSS. Here what we can do, here we can declare one style tag inside the head tag, style, and inside this style tag we will add the properties. So directly we can copy paste the properties in similar ways, h1. So here we will have the properties for h1. So let's provide first only h1 now, and if I try to run this code, so see we are getting only the properties which are for the heading selector, like we are getting the color as blue and background color as black. We aren't getting any change for this paragraph tag. So here you can provide for paragraph as well. So p, let's add background color this time. So background color orange. If you save this and refresh the browser, so see we are getting here background color. So what is the purpose of CSS? It just is used for providing the styling to our HTML documents. So now we have seen the external CSS where we were making the link to the external CSS, and in this inline CSS CSS or internal CSS, we are just using the where is our document? Here. So in internal CSS, we are using internal style is defined inside the style element. And the last one which we want to cover is inline CSS. So to use the inline styles, add the style attribute to the relevant element. The style attribute can contain any CSS property. Multiple style sheets. If some properties have been defined for the same selector element in different style sheet, the value from the last style sheet will be used. So what we can do in inline CSS, we need to provide the property directly inside the style tag. So how we can do this? So here we have this reference of style. We will remove this. So this is our basic HTML code. So here directly inside the tag we can provide the style and we can add the properties of CSS here only. So let's say background color black. So this is our inline CSS. So if I try to run this code, so see we are getting the background color here black, and we need to change the text color also. So we can say color blue. So see we are getting a blue color. So that is the use of 3 ways where you can add the CSS. First one was external, second one was internal, and third one was the inline. So inline is basically used directly inside the selector or tag of HTML. So that's it in this video. We will cover another topics in next video. Thank you for watching.